Yo, what's up, Stormbounders, and welcome to another update. In this update we're gonna talk about the things we can expect in March 2022. And this is the banner Sheepyard has made. So let's just continue what's going on. Update for early March, balance changes, 2 new ancient cards, quality of life improvements, and some exclusive offers. Alright, so let's immediately go to the balance changes. So what can we expect here? This release, just like any other, will bring some balance changes. So we got Melodious Sisters. The ability will now deal 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Basically +1 from its previous to the unit surrounding the target, instead of bordering it. Well, this is quite big. Obviously, ability buff is nice, dealing a little bit more damage. Like, I don't think it's that much, but the opportunity to just remove front from your opponent is huge. So that's a nice small addition. For anybody who is curious, this is what the cards look like. I can just hover over the Stormbound Kitty website, and having it damage dealt surrounding instead of bordering makes it way easier than it actually is. So this is actually the buff that is now doing surrounding. Obviously, with the tweaks on Confusion, Melodious Sisters just got removed altogether, since Confusion is always let's say in general, Confusion always is away at the next turn. So you have to combine Melodious Sisters with another Confuse enabler like Fluffy Bedboxers or Sweet Cap Kittens. For example, those two. So this card is 4 mana, but basically it's 6 mana. But having this instead with 6 mana, just imagine level 1. You have 6 mana, you have a Sweet Cap Kittens. So that's like a 1 strength, then you play this one. That's a 4 strength. And then it deals 5 damage to its surrounding enemies. That may also be like your opponent's base. So if you have the front, you have like 6 mana and you already do 10 value, which is kind of sick. But obviously your opponent can play around it, but not so easily as it was before. Alright, next up is Temple Guardians. So ability now also triggers when played on the side of a temple. Yeah, that was a nice funky addition of Sheepyard. That they have like the Temple of Life, Temple of Hearth, Temple of Time. That's like the ancient structures they added lately. And well, if you play it around, it just spawns it bordering it. And it was really annoying that you can only play it in front. So for example, if you were playing the Temple of Hearth right here on B4, you can only play it on A4, or you could only play it on B5, but it wasn't possible because you cannot place a unit in your opponent's, just in front of your opponent's baseline. So that was funky. So you could basically it doesn't work, so you can only use it a little bit below. And well, now you can also put it on A4 and C4. And the funny thing is that it also gives you like movement. Well, not on this example, but let's say you have your structure, the Temple of Life, on C2. I play my Temple Guardians at B2. Then I do get a front on C3. So this actually, the Temple Guardians, who hasn't movement at all, will now have some additional movement. Like, I hope to see one day that Temple Guardians can also be played behind your structure. Then you actually have 2 movement, which is actually pretty insane if you can make it happen. For now, it's, well, the ancient structures aren't that popular at the moment. Temple Guardians ain't that popular. So, well, we don't see them that often. I do like the card, especially on the lower leagues. But, well, maybe a small tweak like these will slowly bring them like a niche card in the meta. So, pretty sweet. So here's the only buff we're gonna have this update. It's the Fluffy Bedboxers one. The strength is reduced from 2, 5, 6, 7, 10, 8. Well, this card, when it got buffed by Sheepyard, it was hilarious, since it was such an insane power creep over heroic soldiers. Now they just turned it down again. And I think people have seen now that the Confuse ability is kinda sweet. that it can kill each other, especially since it's a little bit more reliable, a 50-50 if your opponent doesn't play around it. And well, what I think why this is happening is obviously the response that it got, it was power creeped. What I think it also means with the ancients, there's a lot of tokens with the ancient cards. And well, if you have tokens and they get confused, they just kill each other off. So Fluffy Bed Boxes is a really good AoE for someone who spams a lot of small units. So I think this might also make some way for the ancient tokens to become a little bit more viable, because especially, well, I see it everywhere. I use it in all the leagues. Fluffy Bed Boxes, I use it in my bronze alt account to my hero league, and you see it all the way up to hero league top 10 players using it. So I think it's nice that this sees a small nerf. Next up is Excited Mousers. Strength is now 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. So it basically gets +1 strength. Yeah. What can I say? Not that interesting. Still not gonna use it that much. It becomes quite a heavy body. Obviously not as strong as like Flameless Lizards, for example. But getting confused now, it's a bit nice. And since we have the Melodious Sisters buff as well, this makes it a little bit easier, but still a 9 mana combo. But it makes sense that they Fluffy Bed Boxers is getting a nerf, so we see less confused enablers, and they try to immediately compensate it a little bit with the overshadowed Excited Mousers, which is basically the least excited Mouser ever. But it's good that they understand that we need confused enablers. So next one, we got Rogue Sheep. Strength is now 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. That's +1, +2 strength on its base. It's still, yeah. I think it's a good thing that they upgraded it. I'm not sure, maybe they could do something interesting with its ability to make it a bit better. But well, the ability is still really good. But the whole thing is, with this card you have to use pirates. And pirates are not that good at all. So, well, obviously making Rogue Sheep a little bit tougher body. For just example, if you look at level 5 cards, there's a lot of 4 mana cards that have 8 strength. And now Rogue Sheep actually survives 8 strength. Doesn't even trade equally, just survives. So you can even get front, protect your baseline, stuff like that, which is huge. So definitely the stats up are a big win for this card. Still, you need to use a lot of pirates, but hey, we might gonna see it happen now a little bit more often with most of Sheepyard's buffs and nerfs. Alright, next up we got Function Wilds. What? This is the wildest card ever. I don't see this card besides in meme decks. And now it has additional strength, +1 on all levels. Yes, I still think Link Golems is the way to go. Maybe, I haven't done the math, but Function Wilds might be a little bit more interesting when you're just starting the game. It's also a rare compared to Link Golems, which is an epic. So you can upgrade this one. So for example, your Function Wilds is always 1 additional strength or 1 additional level over Link Golems. It becomes a bit better now, I suppose, since its strength is a little bit higher and it vitalizes. And Vitalize is obviously better in the lower leagues, since the max strength of every card isn't that as high. So maybe this will be like an iron or a bronze card, something like that, where it becomes a little bit interesting, and then when you reach gold and go higher, you're most likely just gonna upgrade Link Golems if you want to play this as an Ironclad card. Alright, so the nerf compensation, which is sweet and nice. So the first one we have is Absorbing Varmints, Rodent Ancient. Before moving, make all friendly ancients on the board pull enemy units from behind, then deal X damage to all pulled units. So obviously this smells like Boomstick Officers, only then with an ancient team on it and doing some pooling as well. So it's an interesting one. It's an epic. It is 4 mana. It has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strength, which is slightly below its curve, but it also deals, well, 1 damage. But it doesn't pull one of itself, right? Make all friendly agent units on the board pull enemy units from behind, then deal damage to all pooled units. So I don't think it does the ability itself. So there is like a criteria that you have at least some of your other ancients. But we got some cheap ancients, right? We got Heretic. So basically this is the one we got. We got Fragmented Essences, we got Lost Psyches. Lost Psyches is a little bit difficult to work with since it just moves randomly. Or Orgone Leechers. That's something you cannot use since it's an Ironclad one. We got Bounded Daemons. Very weird combination since Bounded Daemons is just placed on your own baseline. Stir Protectors is a tech card. And yeah, then we got Eternal Ethereals, which is a 3 mover. So yes, we're gonna see that on this card. So most likely it will use Heretic Neglects and Fragmented Essences as a combination. And this obviously can split. And this is a very one card to use. It's just a 5 mana card combo. But yeah, it's a bit... Well, it's interesting obviously that it wants you to have interaction with other ancients on the board. But this card on itself doesn't do much. And it's also below stat line. But it does trigger multiple times. So it's weird that you can just pool this on your baseline and then put other units on your opponent's side and then pull it, try to make this thing alive. There's a lot of positional gameplay going on with this one, so I give it a doubt that it's gonna be a fun card to fool around with. I'm not sure how viable it is at the moment, but yeah, let's just check it out later on. So next one we got the Plague Monarchs, a Toad Ancient, 5 mana and 1 mover. Before moving, make all friendly ancients on the board drain 1 strength from a surrounding enemy poisoned unit. So first of all, you have to have a lot of poisoned units. So that's gonna be tricky, that's for sure. I think on the lower levels, it's a little bit easier to get poisoned units around. Because it's easier to play Venomfall Spire. And there's more chunky units on the board. On lower levels, like Venomfall Spire becomes less viable, I would say. Toxic Sacrifice kills a lot of the cannon fodder already, so not so many will survive. Whereas on the lower leagues, if you use Toxic Sacrifice, well, most likely you don't want to use it, but if you use Toxic Sacrifice, like the chunky units stay alive. Its stat line is really bad, and it does the same. Make all friendly ancients on the board drain 3. So I would say this is still not including Plague Monarchs because it's not a friendly. It's weird. I'm not sure what Shipyard is trying to convey with it. Because if it doesn't, then this card will definitely see a little bit more problems on. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. I think this is going to be very tricky to play. If your opponent plays structures or spells, a lot of clearing mechanics like Hunter's Vengeance and Broken Earth Drakes, that has become a little bit more popular since it's buff to 6 mana. Yeah, there are not that many dudes online. We see a lot of Archdruid Aaron with Needle Blast, Blade Storm. So yeah, I wonder how much viability we're gonna see with Plague Monarchs. But at least it's an interesting one again. It's a tricky one to do positionally. There's so many variables with this one. I think it will be interesting to see where it will go. And hopefully if this card isn't viable and Shipyard is gonna buff it, they make it a little bit easier to have this card playing instead of just buffing it up its value and then make it like a win more card, or like once you finally trigger it, once in a lifetime, you just high roll really hard and win from that point forward. I don't think we want that to happen. So next, yeah, the art. It's really detailed. I do like the Absorbing Varmints art. It's a tough one. And it's also from front facing, which I do like with most cards. Plague Monarchs has some kind of like an angle on it. But yeah, I like the mask. It is the poison and the ancient green gooey stuff all combined. So well, it looks fun. Maybe a little bit too detailed for me, but hey, everybody his own taste. So we got the others for them, blah de blah. So basically, just like we had previously, we have these cards in the new Brawls as well. You get a 0 mana copy, and it's level 1 unless you level it up. It's the Warrior Brawl. So we still have some pay-to-win mechanics, these two Warrior Brawls, since obviously you need to buy it, level it up to level 3. And especially for the lower level players, you cannot save that many fusion stones. They just have to pay money, otherwise they will have a big ass disadvantage. Maybe not that much with Plague Monarchs, but still, if you have like a 0 mana level 3 Plague Monarchs, yeah, it has movement, so probably you get bushwhacked by it. So next up, we got the quality of life improvements. We are happy to introduce a handful of bug fixes as well interface improvements in this release, starting with the friends notification toggle. When turned off, other players cannot send you invites. It's fine. Well, I do get often a lot of friendly battle requests, since, well, I have a lot of friends in my list. So maybe if I'm recording or something, it might, or streaming, I can just turn it off if I do not want to do any friendlies. It's, yeah, I don't see that much, but I like the interface that's above, it's showing you. So why not? Funny interaction. And another small but highly requested feature, well, I also have asked for this many times, to buy several books at once. So as you can see, you can just buy multiple mythic tomes, and someone goes as wild here as to write down 99. I don't hope you have to press 99 this plus button, because then you still haven't solved everything. But hey, maybe you can just hold it down, like, that would be sweet. But yeah, especially for the noble books and for people in like Diamond League who have been whales or have been playing this game for like 3+ years, they are saving up so many gold coins. Like they can spend like 40,000 gold coins when there is a sale. So you have to buy 400 noble books. That's a lot of animation going on, and that's also a lot of clicking, because that's like 3 cards normally plus 1. So you have like 400 multiplied by 4 is 1600. Yeah, this is just gonna get insane. And then you can also convert your excess coins once again, and then you can buy 200 books once again, since you get like 20,000 coins back, etc, etc. So yeah, having this option, hopefully it will also stack up all the cards you get. Like we have seen already for a while now, that you have like, oh, you got when you have your end of season chest, like, oh, you got 2 gifted recruit copies, and you got 3 heroic soldiers copies, stuff like that, that you just see all those things stacked up if it's the same card. Pretty sweet. So FAQ, when is the update going to be released? The balance changes will be deployed with the season reset as usual. The 2 new cards will introduced on March the 7th and March the 21st. The UI improvements will land sometime during March. This is basically because the UI improvements is a client thingy. The balance changes is just something in the database. They can just tweak it and then put it live. Obviously that's a lot easier to do, and the UI, that's, everybody needs to upgrade the client. It won't be a forced update, I suppose, because I hope it's backward compatibility, so people can just upgrade it whenever they feel like. So that's gonna be it for this update. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm very curious to hear what you think about the balance changes and about the 2 new ancient cards, and do you dig the new quality of life. So hopefully I will see you next time. Cheers.